Stuffs. Your guys, Mack and Lando here to help you pick up the pieces from yesterday. If you were the victim of a Jonathan Taylor injury or you were on the bad side of a Josh Allen or Kirk Cousins game, we got you. Locked and loaded, get every single start sit from quarterback all the way down to kicker and defense. The Snap got you covered. Lando, how you doing? You licking your wounds today or are you feeling great?
Oh man, I'm torn. I was up against Justin Jefferson in a couple leagues, Kittle, Kirk Cousins. You know, it's tough, man, when you feel like you're out of it before the weekend even begins. And that is the case against producer Scott.
Oh, that's tough.
We're facing off against our huge 16-team auction league, keeper league, and he has taken it to me. I have some of the most points for in the league, and I am up against a juggernaut team. So, listen, I am here with you. We're here to offer some hope, offer some upside. Give us all the context you can when we answer your questions.
Yep.
It just does, as a reminder, we answer every single question today. So I hope y'all are ready for it. It's Sunday. It's playoff football. This is what we've been waiting for, Mac.
Yeah, this is it.
How are you doing? How are your matchups looking so far?
Matchups are looking good for the most part. I lost Jonathan Taylor in a really important matchup, probably my biggest money league, dynasty league, but I had Justin Jefferson as well. So that kind of, you take the good with the bad and you're saying, oh, Jefferson got me 32, Taylor got me 2. Together, they both got me 17. If that were the case, I think that would be a very expected outcome. So I think, it sucks to lose Taylor on the first play of the game. You really expected a lot from him in that game script. You can't help but think he would have been easily over 100 yards and a couple scores, but we can't go back. So we just got to move forward. And it's okay. I've got to just emphasize, though, having a week 15 bye is the greatest feeling of all time.
Oh, yeah. You can just watch and enjoy the games.
The enjoyment factor is sky high.
Just watching football for no reason but to watch a good game. Like that Vikings Colts game yesterday.
What a game.
One of the best games ever. So many early tweets saying, we commented on Mike Fabiano.
Yes.
His name?
Yeah.
And he said something along the lines of,
he said the Minnesota Vikings are single-handedly ruining fantasy managers' championship hopes. To which I responded in full Happy Gilmore fashion, Jonathan Taylor accomplished that feat no more than an hour ago.
That's perfect.
It was a good one.
Acho too, who's a pundit who just likes to just throw out these hot takes, and we're all forced to watch this game. We have nothing else to do than to watch this terrible game and to watch the Vikings get blown out.
Did you see he deleted that tweet though?
Did he delete it?
Yeah, so Josh Larkey screenshotted it and it said this tweet has been deleted. I don't know if he shared the tweet or whatever, but I commented on that tweet that Larkey put out saying Justin Herbert is a social media quarterback. Did you see that whole thing he went on too?
Oh, I've seen it. I've been up to it. I hate
that guy. Shouldn't have a job.
Agreed, man. He is just a loudmouth guy that
he just likes to hear himself talk.
He does it for the clicks, and that's where I don't like. It's just I don't even know if he truly believes these. He's just throwing out takes way too early, and I don't like people that just say and tweet out hot takes just for clout. But
there's a lot of that in the fantasy industry, unfortunately. Yep. We try to not be that. So if you guys are rocking with us, you have all season, or you're just coming in for the first time, welcome to the Snap.
Yeah.
Happy that you're here. We answer every single question, as Landon said. We do a little bit of a quick segment here at the beginning, basic ins and outs. But today, I really just want to talk about Garrett Wilson for a hot second, because I assume that he's going to be a very frequent topic of conversation. A lot of questions probably coming in today about Garrett Wilson. Can we start him? At the beginning of the week, when Mike White or Joe Flacco were the supposed quarterbacks, we were high on Garrett Wilson. He was your 8th ranked wide receiver on the week, and for good reason. He was averaging 16.2 fantasy points per game with Mike White or Joe Flacco. Feels really, really good. Then we get the news Mike White is not going to be cleared, not going to get through the concussion protocol. It's going to be Zach Wilson making his return for his 8th start of the season. And this is where we have to dig into the data. Yes, the Detroit Lions on paper are a great matchup, giving up the 3rd most fantasy points per game to wide receivers at 31.4. However, the splits between Garrett Wilson and Zach Wilson with and without are staggering. 7 games with, 6 games without. In the games with, he's averaging 6.4 fantasy points per game, and without, like I said, 16.2. Big, like a pretty decent sample size. Pretty much half the season with, half the season without. 26 catches, 319 yards, no touchdowns in 7 games with Zach Wilson. 37 catches, 549 yards, and 4 touchdowns in 6 games without Zach Wilson. Very, very polarizing data. How do we interpret this going into week 15 to make a good start-sit decision?
I do want to preface this by saying Garrett Wilson is one of my favorite wide receivers in the league. Like, I am a
He's the
huge
best
stan.
rookie wide receiver.
I think so.
Yeah.
And I was very high on him, like Max said, but I am in full fade mode right now. I do not want to rely on the arm of Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
The targets are going to go elsewhere. They're going to run the football like crazy.
How many targets will there be, though? Because Zach Wilson has had a pretty good track record here of low volume.
Mm-hmm.
Will Zach Wilson throw the ball more than 20 times in this game?
It's probably going to be right around that. And the problem is they're not quality targets either. So I am going, he's in the 30s for me now. I would say he's a fringe. Like, he's still startable, I think. And there's still upside because of the talent of him and the matchup. Of course, there's upside if you need something big. If you face a George Kittle or a Dalvin Cook or something, and maybe you started Jonathan Taylor, there's a world where maybe you're going to lose anyways, but you can go out swinging, and at least the talent of Garrett Wilson and catching a slant and taking it to the house is there with the matchup, and it's just going to be you have to get lucky, unfortunately.
So think about this. There are 32 starting quarterbacks in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Zach Wilson, accuracy rating, number 34th. True completion percentage, 60.7%. Good enough for 36th. What else do we have here? Expected points added, minus 14. That's 67th best. True passer rating, 67.1. That is 33rd best. Receiver yards after catch per target, 3.4. That is 31st best. I mean, this guy literally offers nothing to an offense. He's terrible.
Yeah. I know. It's struggling. I just got a message. I do want to shout out my friend, Philip Morose, who's watching right now. He's going to stay tuned to the Chiefs for Us, taking notes on the games. Big shout out. He's tuning in right now. Shout out, Philip. Thank you for coming in. I very much appreciate you. And I can't wait to see your notes.
Yeah, let's do it. We need more data on the back end for the snap.
Yeah, join in the squad. Join the Snap squad. Snap Army. Let's go.
That's right. I wanted to ask you real quick, as we started off the week with Garrett Wilson at 8. He's now in around the 30 spot for us. Some names that you might be considering starting now over Garrett Wilson. Chris Olave.
I would absolutely start Chris Olave over Garrett Wilson, yes.
Christian Kirk.
Yep.
Christian Watson, which will be a really, I think, popular question today. Watson or Wilson? I
absolutely would start Watson. Absolutely.
Yeah. Devontae Smith.
Yeah, that's a great matchup, and Goddard is out, so he should still see those targets.
A struggling Mike Evans.
Where is the upside of Mike Evans right now? Man,
you got to think that he gets into the end zone eventually.
Yeah, Yeah,
I think I'd still play Mike Evans over Garrett Wilson.
I think so too. I do. I as well. But
Jerry Jeudy, tough one.
I think that's where I draw the line at Jerry Judy. They both have backup quarterbacks, and it's kind of a I do like Jerry Judy is a very talented player. Don't get me wrong,
Sure.
but the matchup and everything there, I think I'll just go with Garrett Wilson.
Juju Smith-Schuster at Houston.
Juju, one of those Kansas City Chiefs, I mean,
I know.
Juju has all the opportunity in the world to do it, but he's so inconsistent. Anyone can do it for the Chiefs. It could be a Kelsey game, obviously. Pacheco, McKinnon, all these guys for the Chiefs. I don't know, man. That's a tough one. I think I would probably go Wilson, but it's a coin flip.
Last tough one, Deontay Johnson at Carolina. Carolina is a top 10 fantasy defense this year.
There's no way I'm starting Deontay Johnson at week 15.
So that pretty much puts him at wide receiver 30. That's where he's at for us right now.
Yeah. Sounds good.
All right, let's get to your questions. Again, just a friendly reminder, please include scoring settings and league format in your questions, as well as just one question. We don't want to have to sift through repeat questions. It really does help us out. We will go to our Snap Army members as well as any super chats. And speaking of super chats, we got Mark Hill coming in with a 5. Thanks, Mark. Appreciate you again coming through this week. Seriously, this is what I'm reduced to. Rodgers or Mac Jones? Wow. Damn. Okay. Let's talk about it. Rodgers is going to play the Monday night game. There's no news that Aaron Rodgers will not play, so you got to feel good about that. If that, something were to happen, I'm sure you could snag Jordan Love off the waivers very, very quickly. So you could have that in your back pocket. Playing up against the Rams are a struggling team, no doubt, even with a little blip on the radar from Baker Mayfield. Yep. They are a struggling team. And then you've got Mac Jones. Mac Jones is playing the Vegas Raiders. The Raiders look elite, or they look like the Minnesota Vikings for the first half of yesterday's game. There's really no in between with them. So, where do you see the upside here between Jones and Rodgers?
I'm going to go Aaron Rodgers relatively comfortably here. I don't have a ton of confidence in Mac Jones. Yes, it's a good matchup. We still don't know, I don't think. And let us keep us up to date if you do hear news about Ramondre Stevenson.
Yeah.
But we know that the New England, regardless who's in the backfield, does establish the run and the talent. I do believe that Devontae Parker is out. I don't expect him to play. Jacoby might be back in, which should be a little bit of a boost. But I think the upside of Aaron Rodgers against a very banged up LA Rams, I don't think that I think they're missing a lot of pieces on defense, aren't they?
Are you talking about the Rams?
The Rams, yeah. Is Aaron Donald going to play?
It's a good question.
Because he was out last game. So maybe they probably just rest him as well. So I think I just go Aaron Rodgers. Now, the only question is going to be the weather in Green Bay. It's probably going to be cold.
It's going to be cold.
I haven't heard anything. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is not afraid of the cold by any means, but I think that
I think the way I look at it is that, you're probably going to get the better performance on average out of Aaron Rodgers given this matchup. To give you some context here, Aaron Rodgers on the season has not been a top 10 quarterback once. However, he has been a top 15 quarterback 6 times. Mac Jones has been a top 15 quarterback twice, and they were both top 10 finishes. In week 3 against Baltimore, he was QB8. In week 12 against Minnesota, he was QB7. Outside of that, he's been a quarterback 20 or worse in every other week of the year outside of those 2 performances. So really, Mac Jones is going to bust you more than he's going to help you, whereas Aaron Rodgers is going to give you a very, average performance, not going to hurt you, gives you the baseline that you need. So that's where I think I'm going to target my attention is Aaron Rodgers here. I don't want the bust game from Mac Jones.
Yeah.
Let's get into some Snap Army members. Easy daddy, as always. Full PPR projected to lose. Good context to know. Jamal Williams or Deontay Johnson? I think I'm with Landon. Deontay Johnson is just kind of a full fade for me this
Yeah.
week. Whether it's Mitch, um, whether it's who else would it be? Well, I don't know about what Kenny Pickett's situation is.
I do think Trubisky is starting. I
The
believe.
one player who seems to have a pretty distinct split with Trubisky and Pickett is Pickens. Pickens has basically thrived with Pickett and been very poor with Trubisky.
Yep.
So I think I start Jamal Williams. I hope that this Lions team can be competitive. I actually think the Lions are going to win today, if I'm being honest.
Yep.
I think it's going to be a tall task for the Jets the entire game if their offense can't move the ball. So I like Jamal Williams. If he gets into the end zone, you're going to be super happy. Touchdown leader. We got to go with our guy. And then full PPR projected to lose one tight end, Komet or Engram.
Do we know for sure what the status of Justin Fields is? I believe he
I believe he is playing.
So that does provide some upside. And the matchup for Evan Engram is really bad with the Cowboys. They're one of the best against the tight end. But it's hard to go away from that huge game he had last week, right? Like,
yeah, and I think the Evan Engram for the most part is a little bit of a trap if we're
I
being
know.
completely well, I think a lot of people are going to, chase Evan Engram and the
Right.
points over better options is my
Mhm.
point here. I don't think that Cole Kmet is necessarily a better option, and Philadelphia as a defensive matchup is not, strong either. You want to say, yeah, Dallas is tough. I think Philly's just as tough.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to go Engram with the status of Fields in question, as well as the potential game script. I'm just going to go with Evan Engram.
Sounds good.
And last one here, one flex, one running back between Brian Robinson, Antonio Gibson, AJ Dillon, and Christian Watson. Christian Watson's in for me for sure.
Yeah, of course. Why wouldn't you?
Between Gibson, Robinson, and Dillon, who do you like?
I like Robinson.
Yeah, I think I lean that way as well. It is a did he say full PPR? Standard scoring. So I go Robinson for sure.
Yeah.
Yep. Done deal. And Aaron Jones' status is upgraded to healthy. There were some concerns with him practicing limited this week. It just was a rest for him. So nothing to worry about there. Oh, last one. Fourth question. Easy getting in early here. DST, Eagles or Jets? I'm going with the Eagles.
Play the Eagles.
Yep. Mike, we'll come back to yours. Like I said, this one will be a very popular one, but I'm going to go with Watson.
That's a Watson.
Let's go to our guy Griff, another Snap Army member. Hopefully you're having a good day as well. Lots of snow up here in the north. That Buffalo remnants that you saw last night made its way to my place in Toronto. So woke up to a little bit more snow than usual this morning. Couple questions for a standard league. It's a very probable win and I'm in the playoffs. Keep in the fire with a Okonkwo or pick up Waller, Everett, Komet, or Conklin.
Some pretty good options on waivers for your tight end spot.
Yeah, I'm going to say that Waller, I just can't fathom starting.
Yeah, I don't want to pick up and start. He's burned us.
I'm okay for a pickup and stash if you've been playing Okonkwo.
Yeah.
But, Everett here to me is the best option.
I agree. I've got Everett ranked the highest. I like Okonkwo.
Sure.
Okonkwo. I think he's a very talented guy, and I think I'm going Everett. He's been more consistent the entire season.
Yep.
It's a good matchup. The Chargers are on a high. It's there's always the chance of Mike Williams getting hurt and going out.
Well, hey, sure. Yeah,
So,
I mean, it's Okonkwo, if he doesn't score the touchdown last week, 6 for 45, you're not feeling the same about him.
he almost got it twice. He should have gotten twice.
I know he did.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, there's also Austin Hooper in that offense too, so it's not like he's getting a consolidated target share. It's really just touchdown dependency. So I would play Everett. I would scoop Waller and stash him for future Griff. But
yeah. So here's the thing: you're not going to pick up. So you would just drop Okonkwo then?
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
And then pick up both tight ends.
Sure.
We do have another super chat from Mark Hill.
Okay, let's get down there. Pacheco or Mac Jones in a super flex?
I think I would go Mac Jones there.
Yeah, I think there's no reason to start Pacheco over the quarterback. Pretty much anybody who's starting other than Zach Wilson. The
Mm-hmm.
only way that this is possible, I think, is if you play in a league like we play in a couple Superflex 2 QB leagues where the scoring is -1 for incompletions and half per completion. So
Yeah.
essentially, if you throw 66% completion, you'll break even. Mac Jones is one of those quarterbacks in a bad game script. If he throws 35 times and only completes 15 of them, you're going to be down 10.
Yeah,
Pretty
I don't think it's that type of league.
No, I'm just throwing that out there.
Right.
I'm always going to take the quarterback over the running back, but
Yeah.
Pacheco's in a good spot. They like to share the work though with McKinnon as well.
Yeah.
He's been very used the last little bit, so
I think Pacheco is in a really good spot. It's just
for
you're
sure.
right. It's not in most scenarios I'm going to start Pacheco, but in this one you're going to go Mac Jones, and it's a good matchup and in a dome in Vegas. So I think your Mac Jones has the recipe to have a pretty good game.
Sure. Yeah, pretty much quarterbacks over skill position players.
Yeah.
Same league for Griff, currently projected to win by 1, so it's a tight one. Don't feel good about the ETN matchup at all. Should I roll him in the flex or roll out Scary Terry or P Ryan? P Ryan's off the table for me,
Yeah, going Terry.
but Terry's been playing really well. There's no reason to sit him down, and I'm a little bit worried about ETN as well. I am starting him in a couple spots because I kind of have to, but the one thing that's nice with ETN, yes, he hasn't been overly productive, but the volume is still there for him. He's still playing 80+% of snaps. He's still very much a part of the game. It's just he has not been very efficient lately. So I'm okay to play Terry McLaurin there for sure.
Agreed.
It is a standard league, so we have to keep that in consideration as well. But I still probably
For a
land Terry.
touchdown for sure.
Yep. Alex, Herbert or Fields?
I'm gonna go with Herbert here. I think Herbert's in a really nice spot. Yeah, against Tennessee, they've been giving up a ton of fantasy points to quarterbacks. Herbert has all his weapons now. We've seen the big difference now for Herbert with Mike Williams and Keenan Allen back. Yes, Fields has that rushing, and it's great. It feels great. He can put up those 50-point games, but I don't expect that to happen versus Philadelphia. That's one of the best defenses in the league.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tough. I'm starting Fields in most matchups, but not
over
in this scenario.
No. I didn't see Chris's message here, but Chris, also one of our members, Stevenson or AJ Dillon in a full PPR. If Stevenson plays, playing Stevenson.
Yeah, I agree for sure. I just don't think he plays. I'm shocked that he's still questionable. I thought he'd be ruled out.
I mean, the beauty that you have here is that AJ Dillon doesn't play until Monday. So you have the entirety of today to, let this play out. Keep your eyes peeled though for that, that news coming through on Ramondre Stevenson. It likely won't come through. I believe they have a 4:25 game today, 4:05. So that thing won't come through until, 3:30. So keep your eyes open, Chris, for that news. If Stevenson plays, I'm playing Stevenson though, for sure.
Yeah.
Been a target machine. Got to go and jump back up. We were at Alex. Scotty coming through with that Skull Vikings chant, the greatest comeback in NFL history. Crazy. Here's a good one. DJ Chark or Garrett Wilson? Chark and Ayuk already killing me.
Yeah, I would
start Garrett Wilson.
I would also start Garrett Wilson. It's tough matchup for the Lions here. The Jets don't give up much to the fantasy wide receiver. And you're starting, obviously, Amon-Ra St. Brown, no questions asked. You have to start him. But Chark is going to be limited. I think he always has a chance for a big play, but you're going to need to rely on that, where Garrett Wilson should be the most targeted wide receiver in that offense. Is just how many targets is he going to get?
The operative word there being should.
Yes.
He should be. Now, DJ Chark, like we have to acknowledge, like back-to-back solid games, 84+% of snaps both games, almost 100 yards receiving, got into the end zone, 6-7 targets. Like DJ Chark's become over the last 3 weeks a more consistent piece of the passing attack in Detroit. So I don't think we can dismiss him. I just think that Garrett Wilson will see more targets is my point.
Yeah.
I'm just going to chase the volume.
Yeah.
And I
If you
think it's
guys are
better.
coming in right now, we do answer every single question, but toss a like on the video. There's
Please.
19 people watching, only 11 likes. Let's give a quick like to us. We are grinding every single week, trying to help you win your fantasy matchups. If you do want your question asked or answered right away, toss a super chat. It's kind of a thank you to the show. It's week 15. You guys are coming in every single week. A little thank you to $5, $1 doesn't matter. I appreciate it, and it does get your question answered right away.
And I'm here battling the sickness again. So
that's worth at least $3.50.
No, just a like will be perfect for me. That's great. Let's go flex Josh Palmer, Jerick McKinnon, and Hollywood Brown. I would play McKinnon, I think.
Would you? Yeah, I think I would go Hollywood.
Yeah, the only thing that is iffy there is the potential game script.
Yeah.
But I think McKinnon's in such a good spot against the Texans.
I agree. I mean, we saw him get involved twice last week, getting touchdowns. He's the pass catcher, no question. Mm-hmm. If it's a full PPR league, I think that does kind of increase the floor of McKinnon.
Sure.
So Hollywood's going to be less receptions, bigger yardage. You hope he gets in the end zone. But, yeah. Oh. So
Smith or Hopkins? I'm going to go with Hopkins.
I'm going Hopkins as well. I do really like Smith this week.
Sure.
Obviously, you have a better quarterback throwing in the football, and he's been doing really well. But Hopkins
it doesn't
is the
matter.
guy.
It doesn't matter.
I know. He'll be. You have to go Hopkins, I think.
Yeah, agreed. Zonovan Knight, Rashad White, Cordero Patterson, pick 2. I am sitting down Cordero.
Yep, agreed.
Pick 1, bad ankle, Ramondre, Pacheco, or Swift. I think Pacheco would be our highest ranked player.
Yep, correct. Mack and I have discussed DeAndre Swift this week when we were considering
full PPR. I'm still playing Swift with a bit of confidence.
Yeah, we were thinking about Ken Walker or Swift. And the risk factor of Ken Walker's injury versus the PPR play of DeAndre Swift. And yes, a tough matchup, but you hope that he gets back to that 50-55% snap share like he was
at this point, though, with what Ken Walker gave us, like I don't think there's any reason to think that DeAndre can't give us a similar performance, if not better.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Whereas Pacheco can score two touchdowns, no problem.
Sure.
He has the higher 17 to 20 point game in him.
He just might not have the volume, but the efficiency and the, red zone touchdown upside should be much, much higher. So.
Yeah.
Let's get to Bucks RTV. Hope we've been doing well. We have. Same to you as well. Projected to lose by 10 after the games thus far. Full PPR pick 1, Ramondre or Pacheco. I think, similar to the last question, it's Ramondre if he plays. If not, I think you got a good option in Pacheco. But the full PPR with Ramondre, I mean, he's had 10 receptions, 10, double-digit targets a handful of times this year. I'm interested in that in a full PPR. I think the baseline is so good. But we're going to get that news later in the day, like I said, between 3 and 3:30 Eastern Standard Time, most likely. The Chiefs, however, when do they play? Are they also a 4:25 game?
That's a good question. I'm gonna look into that right now.
I have that information in front of me.
1 p.m. So I would absolutely start Pacheco.
I think you just have to start Pacheco. I think they're both top 15 options for us this week. I'm just not willing to roll the dice and Ramondre be out and Pacheco play earlier. So I'm gonna go Pacheco.
Yep. It couldn't be a better matchup for the Chiefs.
No. We got Mark Hill coming in again. Pick one wide receiver, McLaurin, Gallup, or Zay Jones. I'm playing McLaurin.
I think I would go McLaurin as well. Zay Jones, we know that he has the potential to put up some big fantasy points, but McLaurin has been good with Heineke. He's got the big game.
Yep.
Producer Scott has him against me, so he's gonna put up 20 fantasy points.
You just know it's true. You can't escape it.
It has been written. It has been. The outcome is determined. So yeah, McLaurin is my highest ranked guy. I think he's in a good spot.
What ranking do you have for McLaurin on the week there, Lando?
I have him ranked 14.
Yeah. So he's a top 15 guy for us. Yeah, with confidence.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks for the 2, Mark. Chris Timmons coming through. Members get some priority here. Pick one between ETN, Aaron Jones, and Hollywood Brown. Full PPR, projected to lose by 1. I'm going Aaron Jones.
Baby. Oh, yeah. Get it.
Full confidence, Chris.
Chris, then there's nothing better than your fantasy performance and win coming down
On a
to
Monday.
Monday night.
Yeah,
oh, yeah.
Put a cape on Aaron Jones and call him Superman, you know?
That's why we play fantasy, is the stress of
I
Monday
want
night
that
football.
stress.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think Aaron Jones. ETN is again a decent option. The volume's there, but Aaron Jones' volume is going to be similar, and I project them to score. So
yeah,
let's get back to Ken Lee here. Start 2.5 PPR. ETN, Monty, Foreman, and Zonovan Knight. Really tough one.
Yeah, I think Knight is kind of in for me for sure.
I think Ken, depending on your confidence on ETN, if you feel good about it, roll them. If not, I'm gonna go Monty and Knight.
Yeah, my rankings say ETN and Knight.
Okay,
but it's that risk level. If you're just tired of ETN burning you every week, how he's done for countless fantasy owners, I'm fine sitting him down. I think he's still, because of his involvement, he has potential and he's a very talented player. But I'm fine sitting him down for sure.
Dallas Cowboys allowing the 4th fewest rushing yards per game, or sorry, not rushing yards, fantasy points to opposing fantasy running backs per game, 16.7. They are allowing the. Oh, I gotta get their wide receiver ranks. Sorry, real quick.
You're looking at Philly?
No, Dallas. They're in the middle of the pack. So, I mean, like I said, it's a tough matchup, but on the ground, ETN's going to have a bigger test than he's had previous weeks. And, even with 17 carries, his efficiency was under 2 a carry. So the confidence is not sky high in ETN. However, he's going to get the ball projected a lot. I think the same exists for Montgomery. So I would probably just roll Montgomery and hope that he's more productive with his touches. But I think Knight is in for sure.
Yep. I agree.
Eric coming through here. 2 full PPR leagues with Higgins at the flex, projected to win both by double digits. Got DJ Moore and Foreman on the bench in one, Zonovan Knight and Slayton in the other. Ride with Higgins? Question mark.
So Higgins for sure over DJ Moore and Foreman.
Agreed.
And then it's the tough one between Zonovan and Higgins. I like Higgins if he practiced in full on Friday. So that shows me that he should be back to normal, and there shouldn't be any questionable tag beside his name.
Sure,
he is good to go, and with that, I think he is a start. If you want to leverage some
easy
risk,
pivot is Zonovan though.
Yes, the risk. Take the risk factor out of it, Zonovan is in.
Agreed, but I would start him over DJ Moore and Foreman. I did see DJ Moore got upgraded to healthy, and he's expected to be a full go today. Foreman had a ton of touches last week for, not the most efficient performance. You do with it as you will, but I think Higgins is a got the higher ceiling between all those options. So half PPR projected to lose. Got Ramondre in the flex, but he's questionable, and like Landon said, probably doesn't play today is his best guess. Can pivot to Hollywood, who also plays at 1, McKinnon at 10 a.m. Claire lives on the West Coast. Palmer at 1. Injuries have not been good to me this playoff season. Me neither, Claire. I have lost so far in the last 2 weeks Lamar, Ken Walker, Deebo Samuel, Jonathan Taylor. It's been tough.
Yeah.
I think pivoting to McKinnon or Hollywood are where I would go. I think McKinnon is a good play this week.
Yeah, I agree.
I think he's probably the strongest play given the soft matchup at Houston. But if Ramondre is going to play, I think he's your best play, but you don't have the ability with the Chiefs playing at, the 1 o'clock slate or 10 a.m. for you. You don't have that luxury of waiting it out. So if you're happy to wait it out and you can pivot to Hollywood, then do that. I think the play is McKinnon, though, if you want to play the running back.
Yeah, I know Claire is a Chargers fan, and Palmer, although he gets in the end zone sometimes, we know the top two targets are going to be Keenan and Mike Williams, and you're going to have to rely on low volume, high efficiency for Palmer to really produce for you. He's fine. It's a great matchup, but I agree that McKinnon would be the pivot. I'm personally, I'm just surprised if Ramondre plays. I would be planning to go McKinnon.
23 people watching. If you are coming right into the stream now, go ahead and slap a like on this video. Really helps out the channel. And then if you want a immediate response, a super chat for any amount of money will get our attention. We're going to go through every single question, sequential order, and you can just give us as much context as possible, but we'll keep rolling and we'll try to pick up the pace just a little bit. Kicks my game coming through. Pick 3 between Ramondre, Etienne, Donovan Knight, McKinnon, and Rachaad White. White is my backup if Ramondre bails. T. Higgins is also on my team. Elijah Moore is a backup. How would you play this?
Rachaad and Donovan are in for me.
Agreed. And I think, yes, Ramondre is, I think, an upgrade at this point to ETN, but I would just roll ETN.
Yeah.
ETN, Knight, and White are probably where I go. I like having White as the backup if Ramondre fails. So that's totally fine. I think Ramondre has a much better game than White given, full availability between the two of them, but White's a nice pivot. And then T. Higgins, I don't love playing Elijah Moore. I think I would just roll the dice with T and put him out there.
Yeah. Yep.
Leading floor, just praying my studs come through. Opponent is projected to win, but I'm not scared of their lineup.
There you go.
Fair enough.
Good.
And I think if you're a dog, that's even more reason to play T. Higgins.
I'm almost like watching through my fingers. Who's going to be the studs? Who's going to be those players that let us down this week? The ones that are in the perfect matchup.
Yep.
That don't get out. That don't hurt us because of injury, but that just hurt us because of a game script, and that we just expect to be those studs. I don't know. I'm just scared what's going to happen.
We got a tough one coming up here after this one. Mike Williams and Amon-Ra St. Brown over Hopkins and Higgins, and then James Conner over Ramondre Stevenson.
James Conner over Ramondre, easy for me.
Yeah, I think given the questionable tag of Ramondre, I think you have to play James Conner. And this, we both don't really like James Conner, but you can't deny that over the past 4 weeks he's been an absolute stud. So you can roll him with complete confidence. Mike Williams and Amon-Ra St. Brown. I mean, I'm probably still starting Hopkins over Mike Williams. But if you want to take that quarterback piece out of play, you don't have the same confidence in Hopkins without Kyler, then Mike Williams is a nice pivot. But I do think that St. Brown is in your lineup 1,000%.
Yeah, Mike Williams is the perfect letdown piece that we all think we can trust, and then you can't. But you're right. He's got that 25-point upside, and if he plays the full game and he's not hurt and he gets those targets that we see every single week, he's a top 10 guy, no question.
Yeah, no, I
mean, Keenan.
You want to talk about a guy who just hasn't really disappointed. I mean, last week with Colt McCoy against the New England Patriots, he still had 11 targets.
Yeah.
DeAndre Hopkins has been a machine. He's been a top 15 wide receiver or better 5 of the last 7 weeks. The other 2 performances, wide receiver 20 and wide receiver 34. Everything else, he's been a top 15 wide receiver or better. So it's just a guy that I don't want to have it in my lineup, especially with Mike Williams, who's a very boom-bust receiver. So I think I would lean Hopkins over Mike Williams, but St. Brown is a non-negotiable for me.
Yeah, and Hopkins over Higgins, obviously.
Yeah. Shaka, Pacheco, Godwin, Barkley. Start 2 in a full PPR. Where's your confidence on Barkley?
My confidence,
It's got to be rock bottom.
it's not high. I'll be honest with you.
Oh man.
I
What
actually,
was concerning last week for me with Saquon Barkley was he didn't look great and he only touched the ball 9 times on the ground.
mhm. Now,
Washington also not a great matchup on the ground.
no, it's not. I'll be honest with you, Mac.
You're going Pacheco.
Barkley was left out of my top 24.
There's your answer, folks. Godwin and Pacheco.
I think I may have just forgot about him, but it might work out. It might work out.
Look, it's one of those things. It's like, is this a start your stud moment here with Saquon Barkley, or
Mhm.
are you willing to acknowledge the regression that has existed over the past couple weeks and his ability to touch the ball reliably, their sort of transition to more of a team approach with
Yeah.
Brightwell and Burita.
What happened last week? They were out of it from basically go. Like they were out of that Philly game so quickly. They
Yeah.
didn't want to. I heard, anyways, that they didn't want to keep putting in their studs when there was no chance of them to come back and win. They should be in against Washington. They should be in a competitive game till the very end. That's where there is upside in Barkley. So the Pacheco, best matchup of all time. He does split the workload, especially third downs with McKinnon.
Yep.
But
And
Barkley
Godwin in a
doesn't play a full
Godwin in a
complement.
full PPR I'm playing.
Yeah, full PPR. I mean, he's a target machine.
Yep.
And they still can make the playoffs. If the Bucks were out of it, I mean, number one, Tom Brady would probably be on the bench. And yeah, they're still in it. They're going to fight to the very end.
Chris
It might be a
Godwin,
low depth of target, but
Chris Godwin, the last 8 games of the season, 9, 13, 13, 8, 10, 11, 13, 12 targets. I mean,
Yeah.
there's nothing better in fantasy football at the wide receiver position in a full PPR league than volume. You have to play Chris Godwin.
I tend to agree.
I'm going to start Pacheco over Barkley. That's the hot take of the day. Full PPR, choose a wide receiver in a flex. Van Jefferson, DJ Chark, Chris Moore, Tutu Atwell. Wow. Ben Skowronek, Nelson Aguilar, and Ramondre. Okay. This is the grossest question of the day.
So obviously you start
Congrats.
Ramondre if active, but you're going to have to make some choices here.
I just don't know that you have the luxury to make that play if active. Because like, do you want to go into Monday with Van Jefferson over the Green Bay Packers?
Yeah,
If he doesn't play?
No.
Do you want to start Nelson Aguilar?
What do you make of Chris Moore?
I was going to say, I honestly think the two best plays here are, I guess you can play Skowronek too instead of Van Jefferson, but I would play DJ Chark and Chris Moore. Like, Chris Moore is in this game against the Chiefs, still without Brandon Cooks and Nico Collins. Like, he's going to see targets.
Yeah. And if the Chiefs come out to a big lead, I mean, then
garbage time.
Yeah, it's going to be garbage time for most of that game. I know the Houston Texans stayed in that game against the Cowboys and all that stuff.
I don't know how. I have no idea how.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Juju Smith-Schuster or T. Higgins in standard scoring?
Standard scoring.
Who has more yards? Who has the better chance of a touchdown?
Yeah, good question. Really good question. I would, if you want to take the risk factor out of it, Thomas, and the injury to T. Higgins, you don't want him to burn you again with that hamstring. Hamstrings are a fickle
recurring injury too.
Yeah, just go Juju. But I think T. Higgins, if healthy, has the better game. So I'm sorry, I'm kind of hedging here, but
I'm just gonna tell you to play Juju.
All right.
That's where I'm at.
Okay.
Don't forget
to like and subscribe, y'all.
Warren coming back with a weekly toss-up, and we always get these ones wrong, but we're gonna give it a go again. Pick 2 running backs and a half PPR: Swift, Brian Robinson, Najee, and Foreman. You just had to throw Najee in there. It was an okay list until I got Najee. Projected to win, but need the high upside to leapfrog another team for 4th. Okay. Well, we'll just pop this one up. It's a little cleaner. Half PPR, Swift, Robinson, Najee, and Foreman. Talk to me about this one. Where do you lean?
I like Brian Robinson, and I think I like Najee Harris.
Really? So you're leaving DeAndre Swift off the slate here?
How many times has he like?
So for me, Foreman's out of the equation.
Yeah, Foreman's out for me too.
So the Carolina Panthers, like I said, top 10 fantasy defense on the year.
Yeah.
They are currently allowing the 16th most, so pretty much dead middle, 21 fantasy points per game to opposing running backs. DeAndre Swift is that, kind of cheat code wide receiver. If he gets the volume through the air, you're going to be really, really happy. Brian Robinson is the true question mark here against the New York Giants.
Yeah. So actually, my rankings do say Najee and Swift.
Yeah, the Giants are a top 10 defense against the running back position for fantasy purposes. I don't know. This one's really, really tough. I think I'm going to go, like you said, the upside is where we need to focus. I think you have to go Swift and Najee. The upside here is that both of them are the more talented players and therefore have the higher ceilings. I don't know that Brian Robinson has that big game in him. So that's where I'm going. Swift, Najee, tough question.
War comes in with the tough ones every single
week. We get them wrong every single week. It's the craziest thing.
Go the opposite of what we said. Start Gibson or Foreman
Gibson and Robinson. Start them both.
Yeah.
One defense, one tight end, one flex. Holy.
Do you want to start your whole lineup there, Raw?
Dulcich and Okonkwo, DJ Moore, Slayton, and Burkhead, I guess, for the flex, and Chargers or Lions. I'm going to play the Lions defense.
Lions are kind of interesting. They're low-key a nice play.
I do like that. Who would have thought that the Colts would have given you 24 yesterday? No one.
Did they actually finish with 24 points?
24. Despite giving up 39 points, they finished with 24 defensive points.
Because they a blocked punt and a pick six.
Yep.
And
a billion sacks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, guys, what do I say? You don't care how many points you get scored
points
for.
Are irrelevant. Doesn't even matter.
Exactly. Sacks, interceptions, fumbles.
Okay, I'm going to go with Dulcich for the volume.
Okay.
Consolidated target share there. Him and Jerry Jeudy are like the primary receiving options. So Dulcich volume has been great. Obviously, you feel a little bit indifferent with Okonkwo having a good game last week, but Greg Dulcich is one of the best tight end prospects coming out of this draft, if not the best. Back-to-back games with 8 targets. I like what I see out of Greg D, and they got a really soft matchup against the Arizona Cardinals. I think I just rolled Dulcich for the volume.
Yeah.
DJ Moore is the better player, and I don't have any confidence in Burkhead. Slayton's been decent, but I'm going to go DJ Moore and then Lions D. That's where I go.
I am facing Slayton against Scotty, so Slayton's going to
He's in for 20.
He's in for 20. So just as some context here.
CPAT, Najee, or David Montgomery, pick 2. I will just sit Cordero Patterson.
Correct.
The Patriots didn't elevate a practice squad running back.
Oh, so I mean that's good
they for Pierre Strong if you've got him kind of lurking.
They were good with Pierre Strong and the other Kevin Harris.
Yes. Damian Harris is not playing, correct?
No, he's been ruled out.
Okay. Knox did come in clutch. Pickens or London? Go Pickens.
Yeah. I don't know what's going to happen there with Desmond Ridder at quarterback for the Pelicans.
And there's been almost no reason to start Drake London since the first couple handful of weeks.
That's why I love the Saints this week.
Yeah. Would we do Dulcich or Kmet this week in a full PPR? I think for the volume, I'm going to go with Dulcich.
Yeah, there is. I mean, Ripken, right, is starting a quarterback for the
Rippin.
eh, it's no worse than Russell Wilson. So
Right.
just go with Dulcich just because of the smash matchup of the week against the Cardinals. They give up the most fantasy points to the tight end.
Yes, they do. Need a QB for the playoffs this week. Goff, Daniel Jones, Heineke, or Dalton. Also Stevenson or Saquon this week. Thanks.
Okay.
Logan, I'm gonna help you real quick with your Stevenson or Saquon. I
Saquon.
don't think you can afford to wait on Stevenson, so you just
Yeah.
gotta play Saquon.
Yeah. You
Which
might
is
have heard
not
us
the worst
hating on
pivot.
Barkley, but in that scenario, you just have to go Barkley.
Yeah. Who do you like for the quarterback? I know my answer.
Goff.
The same. Beautiful. Amon-Ra St. Brown or Garrett Wilson? I'm taking Amon-Ra.
Amon-Ra.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Even if Ramondre starts, should I play him or Chuba?
You play Ramondre if he starts.
Yeah. Yeah,
What time is
there's
the Carolina game?
I was just gonna look that up. I believe they're a later game as well.
Well, then that's good. Then you have the option.
No, they are a 1:00 game. So you don't have that. You don't have the
The luxury.
luxury there, James. Like I would play Ramondre over Chuba. The question is if you don't start Chuba and Ramondre somehow is inactive, do you have a backup plan to that? Is my question.
I'm going to do some Ramondre vetting here because I need to see if we have any more news.
We missed Austin's question, so sorry about that, Austin. I'll get it in here right quick. Rashad White, Deonta Foreman, or Gibson at the flex.
Going Rashad White there, my man.
I am as well.
Yeah.
If it's any form of PPR league, I like that even more. That's the one thing that Deonta Foreman just doesn't have, the pass catching work. They've been bringing Chuba Hubbard in for that. So Rashad White, I do like. Brett Rippon or Davis Mills? Jeez Louise. I'm going to go with Brett Rippon only for the fact that he's going to play 90+% of the snaps. Davis Mills has been in rotation with Kyle Allen and Jeff Driscoll. If you're playing on Yahoo, Jeff Driscoll actually has tight end eligibility. So you can, if you have the cojones, you could put Brett Rippon a quarterback. Or sorry, you could put Jeff Driscoll a quarterback in your tight end spot. How much he plays and how productive he is, we don't know. But it's an interesting situation, let's just say.
So from Mike Reese, looks like a Patriots beat reporter. He sent a video of Ramondre practicing on Friday. Looks like he was very careful with that left ankle. He says a possible improvement the last 2 days and not promoting JJ Taylor, which we noticed, potentially is a good sign, even if limited. So even if he plays, I do think he's going to be limited. So that's another reason to be fading him. There's going to be a mix at the tight end spot or the running back spot, even if he's active. So he might be that guy that if he plays, it's a trap, like kind of what we thought Ken Walker was going to be.
Sure.
It was better than what we expected, which is love to see for all the people that make it through the next round of the playoffs. But even if he plays, ankles are very, very fickle. It's tough. He tried to come back last game. I am gonna sit him even if he starts. I make other plans.
We're gonna experience the exact same thing with Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, if you make it through, yeah.
It's a very simple play. It just looked like a defender slid onto his ankle and kind of rolled him up. And it looked like, just one of those, rolled my ankle. I got to take a couple plays off. I'll be right back. And then he never came back. Supposed it is either high ankle sprain or a Lisfranc injury, which Travis Etienne missed his rookie season with. I don't know what's happening with Jonathan Taylor. We'll get more news on Monday, hopefully. But yeah, they are fickle. Very fickle.
Oh, looks like Argentina won the World Cup.
Wow, Messi.
Yeah, first one.
Austin, I know that we missed your question and you came through with it with a super chat as I was answering it. So if you have any other questions that you need some help with, I will answer it right as it comes through. I'll give you a sort of do-over here on your super chat. But thank you for the 2. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we very much appreciate that, Austin. Sorry we missed that earlier.
That is uncharacteristic of the show to miss some questions, but it does happen.
Yeah.
Going back here to Terry, St. Brown, Evans, Judy, Strong pick 2, or Pierre Strong, pick 2 in a full PPR. Worried about Brown.
So typically, I say if you're worried about Brown or a single player, okay, then sit them. That's fine. But in this scenario, I know it's a tough matchup. Goff, we recommended starting him earlier. He is such a good wide receiver.
Yep.
Goff and the Lions are a great team. They put up 30 plus against the Bills.
Yep.
Like if you look at what their schedule has been, doesn't matter who or what the defense is, they put up fantasy points, like serious points.
They've scored 30 or more points 7 times this year, which is more than any other team in the league. You know, this is not a team that I'm worried about, especially like the Jets defense is tough, but it's fine. Like it's fine.
Is
I'm
it
not.
in Detroit too? No, it's at the Jets, so it is outside. Which I mean,
So what?
yeah,
I'm not worried. Like
yeah.
Amon-Ra St. Brown plays the perfect role where if you need to move the ball through the air, he's going to be running routes that are short to the line of scrimmage, a handful of yards downfield, and he's going to get the ball in a full PPR league. Any reception is a good reception. Doesn't matter if it's even for, a 3-yard loss. That's still 0.7 point pickup. Like you take the volume all day, and St. Brown has that and more. When it comes to your next two, though, Strong is only a good play if Ramondre doesn't play. And then what is his utilization? Between Evans and Judy, I think I like Judy this week for a full PPR league. I think when you talk about volume, it comes down to Dulcich and Judy because Courtland Sutton is still out.
Yeah.
And they have literally no run game. Evans is more of a boom or bust play. I think the volume, though, is Judy. So I'm going to go with Judy. And I'm not worried. Like he got into the end zone 3 times last week, connected on Brett Rippon on one of them. Like I'm good with Judy. So it's tough to sit down Evans, but Evans has been disappointing and he's more of a boom bust play, I think. So full PPR, I'm going to go there.
Yeah, I would go with the studs personally. I would stick with Evans, but I totally understand the Judy play.
So if we have one Lion, one Buccaneer, do you play Goff or Brady and stack them up? Or do you just roll Tannehill? And the answer for me is no, I'm not playing Tannehill. I'd play either Goff or Brady.
Yep. I would go Goff first and then I mean, to be fair, I have them back to back. Brady first, then Goff. But
I think Brady's in a good spot. This might be his best chance to be a top 10 quarterback this week.
If you start Brady, I would start Mike Evans too.
Stack them up. I'm gonna play Brady.
Yeah, go big.
If you have any hesitation on St. Brown, I still think you should play him, but just pivot on the quarterback so you don't have double exposure to the Lions game and go with Brady.
I'm gonna put up Austin's question here.
Just saw it. Would we feel confident in starting Darren Waller?
So when Darren Waller was playing, he disappointed a lot of people. I am not starting Darren Waller with any confidence. I want to wait and see with him first. I don't know why I'm surprised that the Raiders activated him when their season's done.
Pretty much over.
Yeah. And against New England, who's a tough matchup as always. Hamstring injury. There's so many factors pointing us to saying do not start Darren Waller. Sure. Now, the tight end position, even when you think it's good, has been so hit and miss. You think you can start Aquanko, and you can't. You think you can start Dawson Knox, and you can't. Conklin is getting the targets, but he doesn't have any receptions and no yards. Like we've seen Kittle and Schultz and Andrews. Andrews is a great one, disappointing us. The only reliable tight end this year has been Travis Kelce.
Yep. Yeah, so, clear and away the best. Not even close.
Not even close. So
I think the temptation of Darren Waller is like, he's a stud. He started out the year with 2 top 10 performances. He hasn't played in 9 weeks. And for me, it's like context really does matter because in a vacuum, I couldn't fathom starting Darren Waller. It's like, haven't seen him in 9 weeks. He was really poor, tight end 28, tight end 31 in his last 2 games he played. I don't know how I could trust him. However, given your situation, you might have to start Darren Waller. I have a friend who is in a toilet bowl matchup trying to escape the last place penalty. He's an underdog, and he's got Tyler Conklin or he's got Darren Waller. And in my answer there was like, just go with Darren Waller, because at
Why
the end of
not?
the day, if you need the big game to potentially win the matchup, I really don't think that exists with Tyler Conklin. If I'm willing to downgrade um, a guy like Garrett Wilson with Zach Wilson from
Right.
wide receiver 8 to wide receiver 30, what does that say about my confidence in Tyler Conklin?
Sure. Yeah.
So it's like, in that situation, just play Waller. If you're a dog and you need the big game and you're going to lose regardless, if there's a 0, just play your better player. But in a vacuum, I just don't know how you start Darren
Hunter
Waller.
Henry, Conklin, Higbee, Hooper, those level players, Tunyon,
Sure.
like why not? Throw in
Sure.
Waller and see what happens. But there's some good options still left.
Yeah. PPR need 3. Jacobs, Kamara, Aaron Jones, or Isaiah Pacheco. I think you sit Pacheco down.
Yeah, I think you have to.
Stud. Borderline stud.
Kamara is finally in a really good spot
Against Atlanta, yeah.
Yeah. That would be the only one I would consider sitting. If you had hesitancy around Kamara, you could throw in Pacheco, but in a full PPR league, he should get enough work to make it pay off for you here. Be growing.
Kamara can just still be so special.
He can be.
Game script proof. I'm just going to go with my 3 studs there. And Pacheco's been great. The game script is fantastic, but all 3 of these guys deserve to be in your lineup, especially with the matchup for Kamara too. Garrett Wilson or Ramondre Stevenson. Given the early start for the Jets-Lions, I'm going to start Garrett Wilson. I just don't want to take the chance that Stevenson misses.
Yep. Even if he plays, it's a high likelihood that he's limited. Yes, of course, he can fall into the end zone, but I would go Garrett Wilson.
Brandon Phillips, our Snap Army member, full PPR pick 2 between Aaron Jones, Christian Watson, Christian Kirk, and Mike Williams. Wowzers.
I think I just go Aaron Jones and Big Mike.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, it's tempting to play Christian Watson. 7 touchdowns in the last 4 games, 200-yard games, been on fire. But I don't necessarily know that it's in your best interest to go double Packers situation when you can pivot to a better option in Christian Kirk or Mike Williams. So given the matchup, I do agree with Landon. Mike Williams and Aaron Jones are my 2 there, Brandon.
I spoke too soon. It's tied up.
See, this is, I mean, we are not soccer fans, so the fact that you misreported that is not shocking to me.
Well, it said final on the screen.
Yeah, but then there's always that like extra time that they put on. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Soccer's a weird one, but PKs like do you believe that a World Cup game should be decided by penalty kicks? Because it's so different from the rest of the game.
Oh yeah, for sure it is.
Yeah,
I'd be curious to see like a true football fan to get them to comment on it. I agree. I think I don't know. It's tough. Like the shootout in hockey. Should you just play?
It's like the World Series being decided by a home run contest. Doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, you're right there.
But then again, how long would the game go on for?
Well, that's where I think they need to. Yeah, you're right. They need to limit some of that, and they'll never have a draw. Or they don't never want to have a draw in World Cup, obviously.
Let's go back to Drake's question here. Garrett Wilson, Zonovan Knight, or DeAndre Hopkins in a standard PPR.
So I assume that's just a PPR there, Drake. I would go Hopkins, then Zonovan, then Garrett.
Agreed. Yep.
In that order.
The one thing that Zonovan Knight has over Garrett Wilson is that he doesn't have to really rely on Zach Wilson to deliver the ball. It's very easy to hand the ball off.
Zonovan looks great. Zonovan and Pacheco are like very similar players in my mind.
Zonovan Knight might be that guy off the waiver wire that just helps win you your league.
Yeah.
Years ago, I remember Tim Hightower was that guy.
Yeah, he's impressive. He runs fast. He runs hard. He's going to burn bright. He might not last long in the league. I mean, he plays for the Jets, so obviously they're going to have Breece Hall back.
You can't think that he stays with the Jets if that's the case, but
He
Yeah,
could be
he
a bit
might.
of a journeyman running back,
Sure.
but heck, he's talented.
John Fenton, full PPR, Gibson or Algier? I would go Gibson.
Yeah, I'll go Gibson as well.
Pacheco, Mike Will, Kamara, or Bam at the flex. Pick one for a full PPR. He is super torn here. I don't blame you.
Yeah, me neither. It's hard. It's
I
hard to
don't know
feel
that
like
as good as Zonovan Knight has been, and we're hopeful for him this game. I don't know that I could start him over Mike Williams or Alvin Kamara.
no. I agree. I've got Kamara higher. Great matchup too against Atlanta. And then if you don't think, I mean, that's the thing. Do you think you can actually trust Mike Williams?
You know my answer, but I got burned last week on him. So I
Speaking
mean,
of tweeting too early or commenting too
oh my
early.
god, dude, Mike Williams is a fraud, and then he
Yeah,
just goes off.
it goes nuclear.
Yeah, like, geez, Louise. I
I
think you're
think,
between Williams and you're between Kamara. If I'm being completely honest, I think the matchup for Kamara is just too good against Atlanta. Like,
yeah,
there's
I
almost
agree.
no reason to go away from Kamara at this point.
Yeah. Toss a like on the video. Like we said, we do answer every single question, even if it takes some reminding. So appreciate it. Share with your friends. It's playoff time. If you want to say a little thank you to the boys, toss a super chat in there. It goes a long way, and it gets your question answered sooner as well.
Right. Last Brady question from Terry. He was between Brady, Goff, and Tannehill. We said Brady, and then he goes Brady or Danny Dimes. Brady. Brady's still a top 10
Still going
quarterback
Brady
for
for
us
me.
this
Yeah.
week. Yep.
Yep.
Christian Kirk or Christian Watson? That's close. I'm gonna go Christian Watson.
You weren't sure where to go there.
I'm gonna go Christian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Christian is the right play. They are back to back in my rankings,
I know,
19 and 20.
In April, I think it depends on what you need. Like if you just need someone to deliver a decent performance for you, 10 fantasy points, just keep the train moving en route to a victory. Like if you're a favorite, just go Christian Kirk.
Yeah.
If you need the big game though, you're an underdog. Go with the guy who's been on fire, who has the big playability, in Christian Watson.
Watson could spend 3/4 of the game giving you a 0, and then in the fourth quarter he puts up 25 fantasy points.
Yeah, I know.
So if you don't want to fret and worry about it on Monday night when maybe your fantasy season relies on it, just go Kirk.
Yeah.
Dallas defense is banged up right now as well. They're not fully healthy, so it could be a bit of a high scoring game.
Back to the tight end question for B. Groen. Waller or Everett? Everett's been so solid. I don't know how you would pivot off of him, given the uncertainty of Waller.
That's Everett.
Yeah, Everett. Trey, full PPR, start 1, Judy, Boyd, or Rachaad White. Dulcich is my tight end. Also, Denver or Dallas defense. Thanks and good luck today. Good luck to you too.
Good luck to you too.
I think the Denver defense is where I'm going.
Denver, Dallas. Yeah. I typically wouldn't. Yeah. I just mentioned that the Dallas defense is banged up. I'm still starting them in several matchups.
Yep.
Denver. Yeah, it's fine. They're so close to me.
They're very close.
I have Dallas ranked higher just because of how they've been all season.
Yeah, I do think that I'm gonna honor Trevor Lawrence's ability in this game. The Jags last week, they played the Titans, and you're like, oh, this is gonna be a tough matchup for them, and then they absolutely steamrolled them. Like, how are they gonna stop Derrick Henry? They did. They shut him down the last 3 quarters of the game. I think Jacksonville is a bigger test than we give them credit for. And I think when you look at the Denver Arizona matchup, like there are 2 backup quarterbacks playing in this game. And to your point, turnovers are a huge piece within, a good defensive fantasy performance. So with that being said, Denver's been a top 12 defense on the year. They've put up really good point totals a couple times, 17, 13, 9. Really good outings, never lost you points I'm just going to play the Broncos.
Yeah, and I'm going to go with Rachaad White.
Rachaad White for me as well. I think Jerry Jeudy is also very interesting, given that he's one of 2 targets here for Rippin. So volume should be good for him, but I'm okay with Rachaad White there. Travis Etienne or Zonovan Knight. I think it's okay to go Zonovan Knight if you are down on Travis Etienne. I still like the volume that exists with Travis Etienne, but no doubt a tougher test today against the Dallas Cowboys than Zonovan has against the Lions.
I do have Travis ranked higher, and it's mostly on just his talent and skill, ability.
Yeah. Zeke or Barkley? Got to play Zeke, right?
I think you have to stick with Zeke. Yeah.
He's. I have a bet with a friend. He made a crazy remark to me on our drive home from the Packers-Lions game a handful of weeks ago, and he goes, Zeke is going to score a touchdown every single week for the remainder of the season. And I said, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard. I'll bet whatever you want on it. And he's like, all right, $100. And so we kind of clarified in that it was going to be 8 touchdowns over the last 8 weeks. And he is 5 for 5.
Oh man.
He's gone 0 because he sat out that game. 0, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1. So it's like, okay, this guy just keeps getting into the end zone.
Mm-hmm.
So Zeke's on a little bit of a streak.
I mean, it feels like you're still.
I feel good, man. A touchdown per week performance is impossible to keep up. But
yeah.
Isaiah Pacheco or Chris Olave at the flex in a full PPR league.
Pass.
I lean Olave here.
I leaned Olave as well versus Atlanta. It's a good matchup. You do have to rely on Dalton, but Olave is such a good player.
I'm fine with Dalton, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I consult the flex rankings here, but I believe Chris Olave would be ahead for me. And in a full PPR, he is. Yep, I would go Olave.
Yeah. Close one. Good question, Courtney.
Christian Watson or Zay Jones? I would go Christian Watson.
Going Watson there as well. And a fun Monday night thing to cheer for.
Denver, Arizona, or New York Jets defense? I'd play Denver over Arizona defense. The Jets, however, I mean, I have a lot of faith in the Lions, so I'm just going to go Denver.
Yeah. I think Arizona's sneaky. It's in the same matchup, basically, and their defense has been good. But I agree. I've got Denver higher. And then Arizona's not a bad defense. They've got a good pass rush. They can make turnovers. They're kind of a very fine defense for fantasy points.
Agreed. April said, I missed the take with Garrett Wilson. Cole's notes. We downgraded Garrett Wilson from wide receiver 8 pre-news of Mike White out, Zach Wilson in, down to wide receiver 30. There's some information for you on the screen here. Garrett Wilson, 2022 splits with Zach Wilson, 7 games with, 7 games without. 6.4 fantasy points per game with Zach Wilson, 16.2 fantasy points per game without. The splits are very, very apparent. The matchup is good. The Lions give up the 3rd most to fantasy wide receivers at 31.4 points per game. However, I'm tempering expectations with Garrett Wilson. So,
just think, if he scores 20 fantasy points today, he could have scored 30 before.
I think the likelihood of that happening is low. I mean, we went through some guys that we would start over or, behind Garrett Wilson. I think it came down to Deontay Johnson was the line for us. We would go Garrett Wilson over him, but we're in and around wide receiver 30. So,
yeah.
Palmer, Moore, and Tony. Well, I'm not starting Tony. I'll just go DJ Moore.
Yeah, I'm fine with DJ Moore. I think Palmer's fine, but like I mentioned earlier, you need to rely on efficiency, low volume, and for him to get in the end zone probably to be able to start Palmer. Right. Not that it's impossible, it's just...
Talk me out of Jeudy over St. Brown. Here are some highlights for Amon-Ra St. Brown. 9, 12, 10, 8, 11, 9, 10 targets the last 7 weeks. Wide receiver, 32, 2, 3, 21, 10, 29, 29. I mean, what do you want from the guy?
Yeah, he
He's been so good.
toughest defense in the league. Well, Buffalo maybe. He's got 9 receptions for 122.
For me, like to me, he's a guy that it just doesn't matter what
Yeah,
the game
that's
script
true.
is and what the defensive matchup is. Like the guy is just gonna do what he does, and
He
that's
learned
get
that.
open and that's receive the football. So
I don't want to chase. Jerry Jeudy is a talented wide receiver. I'm not going to chase
the big
3
game,
touchdowns.
sure. My argument for Jerry Jeudy over other receivers is volume. My argument for Amon-Ra St. Brown is also volume.
And yeah,
Who's
and
been the better, more reliable option the entirety of the year? Amon-Ra St. Brown.
correct.
You just got to go with your guy.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't the right play, I think the process is the thing that matters.
Wide receiver 7 in PPR, and he missed 3 games.
Yeah.
Or
It's ridiculous.
Missed two. Yeah.
It's ridiculous. 1 running back, 2 flex. Swift, B-Rob, Pacheco, Zay Jones, Chris Moore. Okay, 1 running back, I would go with Pacheco.
Yep.
2 flex, I would go Swift and
Zay?
Brian Robinson.
Okay. It's close between Zay and Brian Robinson.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. But I go, Swift, B-Rob, Pacheco would be the 3 I would play there.
Cool. Into it.
Jeudy or Garrett Wilson? We were split on this. I said I would go with Jerry Jeudy. Landon said he would go with Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Your backup quarterbacks for both are very talented wide receivers. If they had the same amount of targets, I mean, the quality of targets are still going to be pretty low with Rippon and Zach.
Sure.
So the better matchup, I think, would be Arizona.
No.
Sorry, it would be
The Lions
Detroit.
give up a third most.
It'd be Detroit. So then that's kind of where that's my tiebreaker.
The Arizona Cardinals are right in the middle.
Right.
It's a very neutral matchup for them, but I like Jeudy for the consolidated target share, the volume. Yes, there's a backup quarterback, but like Zach Wilson's also basically a backup quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty the thing. It's consolidated in New York, but they're gonna run the football a ton.
They would hope so, yeah.
Yeah,
I think the game's gonna be really fun. Garrett Wilson's just such a great player, as is Jerry Jeudy. I'm going Jeudy. Landon's going Garrett Wilson. They are back to back in our rankings. It's so hard to pick. So tough one. Coin flip there. Dak versus Fields. I would just play Dak.
I like Dak as well. He hasn't been a league winner, but I think against Jacksonville it could be a bit of a shootout, especially if the Dallas defense is banged up and they give up more points. We know that Trevor Lawrence is a very talented quarterback. So if Dak is forced to throw the football, he could be better.
Gator fan. Oh, it's Chris Moore. Well, with DJ Moore, Rondell Moore, Chris Moore, you got to give me more detail, my guy. Will we start Moore or Palmer over Garrett Wilson? I wouldn't. I would start Garrett Wilson.
Yep.
Jeudy or Antonio Gibson? I would start Jeudy. Yeah.
All right, guys. We're pretty much done with 6 minutes left. So
thank
you so much for coming by. Don't forget to like the video on your way out. Share with your friends if you enjoyed your experience here. And good luck in your fantasy playoffs. This is what we've been waiting for. Hopefully, y'all have a good chance to win today. And hopefully, we'll see you next week as well.
Yeah, today's going to be a whirlwind of emotions. Just remember, as things go, your way against you today, if you made the right start sits, if you felt good in your process, the outcomes are the outcomes. Sometimes you can't, you can't change that. You can't control results. That. Process over results. No one is ever going to look back yesterday and say, I should have never started Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah.
Right. Because like an injury, they just happen, man. So, feel good in your process. Feel good that you came here and you got a second opinion to help you out, whether you went with it or not. Our opinions are not the be all end all, but they are another opinion. So if you are here and locked in and putting time into your fantasy, you did all you could, and the chips are going to fall where they may. So hopefully we see you next week, regardless of your outcome. but best of luck today.
Yep.
Appreciate you guys. Let's get to a couple more questions before we go here. Jones or Taylor Heineke? I'm going to say that's Daniel Jones.
Yeah, I'm going to go Daniel Jones too.
Daniel Jones as well. Just to play devil's advocate from Brett Rippon and Davis Mills. Oh, this is perfect for you, Landon. You love to play devil's advocate. Won't Houston have to throw it a lot against Kansas City? Well, Davis Mills, Kyle Allen, and Jeff Driscoll have all played quarterback last week.
Yeah.
So it's not like Davis Mills. I'm going to pull up their snap share because I believe Davis Mills was behind Kyle Allen. Yeah, Davis Mills played 50% of snaps last week, and Kyle Allen played... Let me get this up. Kyle Allen played... why don't I get that info? Didn't record.
So either way.
And what did Driscoll play? Oh, Driscoll played 50% of the snaps. It's like, why would I play a quarterback who's only playing potentially half of the time versus one that's playing 100% of the time?
Correct.
You know what I mean?
But if you want to go Davis Mills, man, go for it. Who cares?
Brett Rippon's also in a good matchup against Arizona. Like, it's not like this is a bad spot for him.
Yeah.
I don't know what reason there is to play Davis Mills.
Yeah, if we knew he was playing 100% of snaps, sure. It's close.
Play Jeff Driscoll as a tight end. It's way better.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much, guys. Sounds like Argentina won. Messi is the GOAT, greatest of all time. I agree.
I love it.
Yeah.
Like Landon said, like this video on your way out. Good luck. Hopefully we see you next week. Until then, we'll see you Tuesday. Actually, is our live stream. So we'll touch base with you then. Good luck, and we'll see you soon.